The Premier League chef has whipped up a bit of a treat for us this weekend because we've got some tasty fixtures in the Premier League. On Friday evening, we get underway at the London Stadium as it's West Ham United against Chelsea, and we finish up at St James's Park on Monday evening in the Alexander Isak derby. I am looking forward to a few games this weekend, I can't lie. Looking forward to discussing it as well. So welcome to Tartan YouTube channel. This is the Premier League preview and prediction show where we have a little discussion around each game. Try and guess what we think the score will be. Quite tricky last week because all we had to go on was vibes. This week we've now got one game for each team, but we're keeping the vibes as well. We're not giving up on that trusted method of guessing what we think the scores will be. Now before I get into the West Ham Chelsea game, I want to say well done to two of you people. Well done to you. This guy, don't know how you pronounce that, 0L1V3R1A. Well done to him, and well done to Big Mally. They got involved last week and they were top of the Tartan predictions. I gave everyone 3 points for a correct score, 1 point for a correct outcome. Those two people got 12 points in particular. As you can see there, Big Mally getting 1-1 correct at Brighton, and then 0-1, we'll just go with that, and correctly predicted 1-1 at Amex as well, but they both got 12 points, so big congratulations to you two. You're the winners of the Tartan prediction show last week. You don't win anything other than a shout out by a random Scottish guy. Anyway, to the London Stadium, West Ham, Chelsea, my team, not looking forward to it. At the end of last season, West Ham had only won 1 of their final 8 home games at the London Stadium. But saying that, Chelsea had only won 2 of their last 11 games away from Stamford Bridge. So neither were in great form, home/away, at the end of last season. Chelsea drew Crystal Palace last week. That was a good game for 0-0, actually. I thought it was an alright performance by both teams. They had Palace sort of pinned back for the last 10-15 minutes, but couldn't quite get a breakthrough. Very lucky with that Eze decision, which we've discussed in the review show on Monday. For this one, I think a couple of seasons ago I'd have fancied us to beat them. Before the last season that's just happened, we'd won 2 and drawn 1 of our last 3 games. Not so much last season. We got an absolute whipping by Chelsea. And I fear the same could happen again. It wouldn't surprise me if we somehow won this one 1-0. But that's my heart talking. My head says 3-1 Chelsea. Saturday we got underway at the Etihad as Manchester City against Spurs. And I had a little look. Don't really care for the Tottenham Manchester City historic data because we had Postecoglou. We've had 101 managers before him as well. So I had a little look at Man City Brentford to give us a bit of an insight as to how Thomas Frank got on. Because when I seen this was a fixture, I thought, hang on a minute, I remember Brentford beating Man City, and I feel like I've seen it on more than one occasion as well. So the last 6 times Man City have played Brentford, they've won 3, drawn 1, lost twice. So they've got an alright record, Brentford do. Thomas Frank against Manchester City has got an alright record as Brentford manager as well. I'm looking forward to this game actually. I'm just hoping that we can beat Chelsea and I can enjoy my weekend of football. I can sit back on Saturday, enjoy the football, Sunday enjoy the football. It's not the same when your team's been done, is it? You get annoyed watching it, like I did on Sunday. Watched Crystal Palace against Chelsea, and I thought, why can't we play like that? Natural. Then watched Leeds beat Everton. I thought, why can't we do that? Just has an impact, doesn't it? As for the Etihad, I'm expecting goals. I'm expecting entertainment. I'd imagine Frank will stick with his, or go back to what we've seen against PSG with a bit of a 3-5-2. I'm going to go for 2-2 on this one. I'm looking forward to it. City looked good against Wolves, but I also thought Wolves was a bit of a spirited game from them, but they weren't without their chances. That City defence was breached on a couple of occasions, but I think it will be all eyes on Reinders on Saturday because that performance at the Molineux was just chef's kiss. Fantastic. Bournemouth against Wolves. Well, we just spoke about Wolves very briefly. I don't think the scoreline reflected that game, to be honest with you. I thought City looked good. City had a lot of energy. They looked a little bit like their old self combined with a little bit of Pep Linders in there as well. But I think the scoreline was still a little bit harsh on Wolves. I thought there was a good effort from them. There were some good moments. This will be a different game for them. But saying that, Bournemouth also looked good at Liverpool, even though they got beat 4-2. They still looked like sort of Bournemouth when they were good last season, if that makes sense. Now, since then, they've obviously brought in Gannon Doak as well as Adley as well. So there's been some reinforcements for the home side for this match, which I think they need. I still think they need more, and I'm sure they will do more. But they've been able to strengthen their side between that defeat against Liverpool and the game on Saturday. So I'm going to go for Bournemouth 2, Wolves 1. Then off to Thomas Frank's former side as Brentford take on Aston Villa. Both teams need a reaction. Brentford obviously 3-0 down at half-time away to Nottingham Forest is not good. I feel like there's already a little bit of pressure on Keith Andrews. A few of their fans, I think, have sort of thought, we'll be all right as long as that guy sorts his tactics out. Big pressure on him. Big pressure. And as for Aston Villa, they were poor. I think they had 3 shots in total against Newcastle on Saturday, which was the lowest out of all 20 teams in the Premier League. Now, bearing in mind, Everton didn't even have a shot in the first half against Leeds United, but they still did better attacking-wise than what Villa did. Defensively, I thought they looked okay at times, Aston Villa, but Newcastle were much the better team, so they need to have a big improvement. I think it's maybe the right opponents for Aston Villa, actually. I think when they finished that game against Newcastle, they came off. I think they may have been thinking, got away with that one. They should have been. But I think they might have also been thinking, thank God we've got Brentford next. Saying that, big test for Brentford. Damsgaard back though, Tara signed as well. So there's more options for Keith Andrews to choose from. It just feels like a difficult fixture for them. I feel like Villa could go back to basics a little bit and try and keep a clean sheet, and that should be enough for them. I'm going to say Brentford 0, Aston Villa 2. Off to Turf Moor. This game should be a bit of a good one. I think maybe this is the one I'll tune into on Saturday at 3 p.m. Burnley taking on Sunderland. Complete opposite scales for the opening game of the season, wasn't it? Sunderland with a 3-0 win against West Ham. The thing is, right, they weren't great in the first half, Sunderland. They were not great. Second half, they were really good. First half, not so much. Now, I didn't see Burnley play. I didn't watch the Tottenham Burnley game, so it's hard for me to really have an opinion on Burnley going into this one. Did they just come up against a team with too much quality? Because there was moments of quality in that game with Charleston's second goal. You know, you could try that another 5 times and not even hit the target in any of them. So it's just, you feel a little bit like that's rough. When you a newly promoted team, I think you need luck to go your favour. Burnley felt like it looked from a neutral's perspective, didn't feel like Burnley was getting too much of that at Spurs at the weekend. This fixture last season finished 0-0 actually, which is perhaps unsurprising given Burnley's defence and how good they were in Championship. I can see it being another low scorer. Because Sunderland won last weekend, I think a draw becomes a good result for them. I think had West Ham beat Sunderland, they'd have gone to Turf Moor needing 3 points. But I think if you offered them, before the ball was kicked at the start of the season, 4 points from West Ham Burnley, I think they might have taken that. And I would suggest that that's a decent return. If they can win 6 points in the bag already, I mean, they're a sixth away there to staying up after 2 games. It'd be brilliant for them. Burnley throw pressure on them. 100% pressure on them. It's only match day 2, but this is the type of game they have to win. They absolutely have to win this type of game. Burnley should be looking at Leeds, Sunderland, West Ham, Wolves, Everton, those types of games, thinking we've got to win the home ones. We 100% have to win the home ones and then get what we can away from home. You're going to have to pick up 10 wins from somewhere if you want to stay up. This is definitely one of them. I'm just not sure I can see it, albeit I am going off the back of watching Sunderland and not Burnley. So my prediction for this one is Burnley 0, Sunderland 1. Arsenal Leeds. Feels tasty, doesn't it? Feels tasty. Leeds were very impressive. I mean, this is funny. The 2 teams that won 1-0 in the opening weekend. Arsenal did not look impressive, but they got the win. Leeds looked impressive and got the win. I think if Arsenal play like they did against Man U, you could see them dropping points in this one. However, in order for that to happen, if Arsenal play at, say, 80%, Leeds have got to be at 100%, and that might just be enough to get them a draw. They're still a very, very good team, Arsenal. And as I mentioned on the review, I've seen them go to Old Trafford, play well, and come away with nothing. So I don't think they'll be too bothered by the fact that they weren't at their best, because ultimately the only thing they needed to do was get 3 points. Got Liverpool coming up next. It's important that Arsenal got 6 points from their first 2 games from what I would class as banana skin fixtures. Now, had Everton beat Leeds, I think this would be a bit of an easier fixture for Arsenal. But if my auntie had Watsits and all that, she'd be me uncle. But because Leeds have won, you'd imagine there might just be a bit of a confidence boost for them. They might go to Arsenal, and I wouldn't say with swagger, but with belief, with less fear than they perhaps had a couple of weeks ago. And I think that could be dangerous for Arsenal because Nonto's going to fancy his chances up against whoever at right back. He's going to be feeling confident. I thought Stack was fantastic in midfield. He'll fancy his chances up against the likes of Declan Rice and stuff. This is a big game for Leeds, make no doubt about it. And I think it'll be a tricky fixture for Arsenal. However, Everton were stinky. West Ham were stinky, right? But Everton were also stinky for Leeds. I think this just might be a little bit too much of a step up for them. I can imagine a spirited performance by Leeds just getting outdone by a better team on the day, really. I'm going to say Arsenal 2, Leeds United 0. Sunday, here we go. We've got the derby, don't we? The new unofficial derby. We should be in the Europa League, not you. Derby at Selhurst Park as Crystal Palace take on Nottingham Forest. And I'm looking forward to this one. Hope it's tasty. I hope there's something on that pitch. I feel like there's a bit of a argument between the boardrooms of Nottingham Forest and Nottingham Forest, between Parish and I don't never know how you say his name. Marikinatis, the big Greek, and Steve Parish. Right, you sense that they dislike each other, understandably. Sometimes I think, I hope that doesn't filter down onto the pitch. They need to be professional and composed. Scrap that. I don't want professional and composed at Selhurst Park on Sunday. I want aggression. I want fighting. I want scraps. I want everything. Everything. Tackles flying in, fouls, goals, punch up. I want the Forest owner on the pitch at the end of the game scrapping with the referee. I want it all at Selhurst Park. I want everything. Everything. I think we might get some of it. I don't think we'll get the scrapping. We might get the owner on the pitch after the game, you never know. But the fans will be going at it. Selhurst, the Crystal Palace fans and the Forest fans, it'll be loud between the two of them. They'll be going at it about European football and whatnot. I am looking forward to watching this game on Sunday between Palace and Nottingham Forest. This game finished 1-1 last season, but the problem is Crystal Palace are losing Eze. He's got his medical at Arsenal on Friday. They've got the Conference League game tonight on Thursday. That's not going to help. I'm just a bit concerned. Nottingham Forest have obviously got their new signings in it as well, and they're bloody good signings too. It's not like they've just added squad depth. They're bringing in players that are good enough to start for them, and they'll probably be on the bench. That Forest bench on Sunday is going to be disgusting. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to feel jealous. I'm going to feel annoyed. I'm going to think, I want that at West Ham. Why do I have that at West Ham? It's going to irritate me. I know it is. But for Forest fans, you're going to look at that bench. My word, what a treat that is going to be. Just all those names on that bench. James McAtee on the bench. Callum Wendo on the bench. Omari Hutchinson on the bench. Just quality. Goal down. Don't worry about it. Look who we've got on the bench to bring on. I think they're going to do it. I was ready to say I think they're going to score. I think they're both going to score. I'm going to say... Actually, no, I don't. I haven't written that down. I've written down my predictions. I've gone Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Am I sticking with that? No, I'm changing it. I feel goals. Crystal Palace 1, Nottingham Forest 2. There we go. Everton against Brighton, first game at the Bramley-Moore Docks. Big occasion for Everton, which for me is overshadowed by Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. Tough game. A tough game to start with, isn't it? Home to Brighton. I didn't realise that was the first game at the new stadium. So when I was looking at the fixtures ahead of this weekend, I thought, ooh, that's... you don't really fancy one of them, do you? I think Everton would have been probably wanting... Probably West Ham at home, to be honest with you. But Brighton, a team that played good football, really good players, a bit unlucky last week not to win the game. Yeah, I'm not sure this is a good fixture for Everton, truth be told. They were honking, absolutely stinky at Ellen Road on Monday. No shots in the first half. The second half wasn't that much better. I seen a tweet from an Everton fan that he just said about how Grealish came on, took on 3 Leeds players, played it into Beto, and it just bounced off his foot. And he wasn't wrong. It was a bit... he was terrible up front. Thing is, Moyes can make changes. He can start Grealish. That gets the fans up straight away. You're an Everton fan. The lineup comes out and Grealish is starting on the left-hand side. Gets you up for it straight away. Barry up front, their new signing. So he can make tweaks. I know he's frustrated with the lack of signings and that they need more signings. Absolutely. But he can do more with the squad he's currently got at his disposal. As for Brighton, they'll feel a bit peed off conceding that late goal last week, but they're still a good team. I didn't watch the game, admittedly, but I did watch the Everton one. And because of that, I'm going to say Everton 1, Brighton 2. Moving on to Craven Cottage to take on Manchester United, a fixture which, weirdly, Man U won last season. I just had a look just to see, when prepping for the show. I do a little bit of prep. I don't just spout nonsense, then do prep, and then spout nonsense. But I was almost expecting Fulham to have won this fixture. If you asked me to guess what the score was last season, I'd say, I don't know, 2-1 Fulham maybe. That was 1-0. It was 1-0 Man U. So that surprised me a little bit. The game at Old Trafford was also 1-0 Man U, but Ten Hag was in charge for that one. But the one at Craven Cottage, Ruben Amorim was in charge for it. And then they played in the, I want to say FA Cup, and Fulham beat them on pens at Old Trafford. So not a bad fixture for Man U, despite how poor they've been recently. I thought they were good last week against Arsenal. Very unlucky not to get something from the game. But they've got X Factor in their team now. I thought Cunha looked brilliant against Man U, and he's really such an elite level player. And Bomo's an elite level player as well. What does he do? I thought Mount didn't have his worst game for Man U either. So does he just stick with what he did last week against Man U, against Arsenal? Does he put Sesko in? I think either is acceptable and understandable. Does he take Fernandes out of midfield, push him up and into place on Mount and change the midfield? Probably not. As for Fulham, didn't see their game against Brighton, so it's a difficult one for me to predict. But I'm going to say Fulham 1, Man U 2, because Man U have just got that, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? Anyone that watches Dragons Den, Deborah Meaden, when someone goes in, an entrepreneur goes in and gives a spiel and she likes it and she loves the company, she said, oh, you've got a little bit of that. And she never knows how to say it. She goes, got a little bit of that. But I get it, right? I get it. Man, you've got a bit of that. It's the X Factor, isn't it? Cunha and Mbomo. They've got Cunha and Mbomo. And then Monday night, we've got the Alexander Isak derby. Newcastle taking on Liverpool. This one should be good. I don't think it will be as tense as Selhurst Park. But you'd imagine there will be a bit of spice there. I could understand if Newcastle are looking at Liverpool thinking it's your fault. All this stuff with Alexander Isak and whatnot, it's your fault. I can imagine Liverpool looking at Newcastle going, actually, you caused this yourself. Had you sold him to us, we wouldn't have a problem. So it's going to have a little bit of spice. Monday night too. I'm looking forward to watching this game. Newcastle will be disappointed they didn't pick up 3 points at Villa Park, and they should be. They should be disappointed as well. It was 2 points dropped as far as I'm concerned, going by the performance. As for Liverpool, got a bit of a scare against Bournemouth, but ultimately got the win in the end. 2 games now, do you know, with the Community Shield and now the game against Bournemouth. 2 games now, and plenty of evidence to suggest that there's going to be a few teething problems with Arne Slot's sort of new way of playing. They are going to be a bit more open. They're going to be a little bit more sort of gettable at the back. It'll be interesting if he keeps Konate, because he was terrible against Bournemouth, and I don't think Van Dijk had a great game either. And I think this is actually one game that maybe Gordon would actually suit as striker. There should be room for him. There should be room for Elanga. There should be room for Harvey Barnes. Ramsey's there now as well, so they've got a little bit more strength and depth, a better option off the bench than what they had when they took on Aston Villa, when, you know, they brought Miley off the bench. A great player, but he's not going to make the difference, is he? I think Ramsey coming off the bench could make a difference. And also he can play various different positions. I know he's been used wide left for Villa. I think he'll be more of a number 8 under Eddie Howe at Newcastle, sort of that Yolinton role. I think he'll be good at it as well. I fancy goals in this one. It's a hard one to call, actually. I'm going to say Newcastle 2, Liverpool 2, but this is the game that just won't surprise me. If I fell asleep Monday morning, woke up Tuesday morning, you said, oh, Newcastle won last night. I said, yeah, okay, fair enough. And then you said, no, Liverpool beat them 3-1. I said, yeah, fair enough. As long as there's entertainment and goals as a neutral, I'm happy. That's what I'm wanting. But it's a difficult game to call. Anyway, now it's your turn. Don't be a stranger. Don't be shy. Get involved. if you go underneath the video in the description, there's a list of all 10 fixtures. Copy it, paste it. Just give me your score prediction for each game as well. You can give me your thoughts on the games too. Don't be shy. Get involved. I like reading people's comments. I like interacting with you. So get involved, please. We're building a little community here at Tartan G. I'm starting to get to know a couple of you. I already know the West Ham lot, right? I know you lot already. Some of you came over and I was hoping you wouldn't. Joking. I'm starting to get used to the Leeds fans, the Sunderland fans, a couple of Nottingham Forest fans. So keep getting involved. I like reading it. But anyway, speaking of getting involved, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Do drop a like on the video as well by clicking thumbs up. It does make a big difference. And I guess I'll catch you tomorrow.